Hello, I think I might be live, maybe. Hmm, got an interesting setup. Um, yeah, here we go. Alright, cool. Well, hello, this is new. I haven't been around in a while. That's because if you saw my video, I'm in college now, and that means I'm insanely busy. But, I have, it is summer break, and I all of a sudden have a bunch of free time. So I had the idea, wouldn't it be cool if I did a Linux from scratch install? And what if I live streamed it? That's what I'm going to be doing. There's no background music or anything. I'm just going to be kind of just chatting along, and if anyone joins, then we can chat and stuff like that. Chat open on like another monitor and everything. Let's see, there's a thing I want. Oh, don't need that to be though, maybe. Hold on. Yeah, and I'm doing this on my laptop too, which makes things look different, but um and one more thing, let's open up HTOP on another monitor as well. Oh, hold on. Just getting things all set up for me to monitor stuff. All right, sweet. So, for those of you that, well, first of all, it's kind of interesting because when I started this channel, I was starting it as I was getting into Linux. So, like, I was kind of doing like Windows for a while, and then I started getting into Linux, and then it started become my interest, and then but then I was basically locked into making Windows content because that's kind of what I built my audience around. So I'm sorry to people that are watching this, like the replay or whatever, or that come into the live stream later and are like, I don't understand this, because especially because Linux from scratch is a pretty it's a very technical thing. You're building a Linux distribution from scratch, like as the name suggests. So sorry about the outside noise. If you're hearing that, uh, so this is also my first time running through a Linux from scratch, so we're kind of learning together. But I am probably starting with a head start because I already know a lot about Linux. The one thing that I haven't done much, that I only did last night for the first time, was build a Linux program from source. And that's because I kind of this is Linux from scratch. The book here kind of shows you and walks you through the whole system here, and it kind of um, kind of starts at one point in here by right, target architecture for right prerequisites. You should read this article of how to build software and installing from source. And so I did that for the first time last night. I usually just install binaries, like from repositories and everything, because I don't really have any need. But yeah. So it sounds like because I kind of skimmed the first bit here, and then once we get into the introduction here, it starts by talking about how you need to start from a you need to start from one from an already existing installation. So I go into not OBS, and it's ideal to set up in like a certain way, like development, and software development, to kind of have already like GCC and a lot of the other like compiling stuff that you're gonna need. And then you also need a partition in a certain way, which I didn't see these two things until I already had I thought I was being smart and installed a distribution. I installed Debian in VirtualBox here, and I don't think I set it up correctly. So we're gonna start the stream by reinstalling Debian here, and we're actually going to give that a lot more video memory. Debian. So we're going to start by reinstalling Debian because we need to get this set up and stop appearing on the screen. Please be on the screen. Thank you. That people can see it. Let's do advanced options. Is there a... Okay, Debian doesn't come with a bunch of stuff there for you, so I guess you're just gonna have to install everything ourselves. Let's just hop into regular normal install then. And English is cool, US, American English. And so yeah, if anyone pops in, these are the perfect times to start a conversation or whatever. I didn't realize that there's like I'm not outside or anything. I'm like perfectly inside, but there's a lot of like stuff happening outside my window, I guess. Debian's fine. We are going to be doing a pretty minimal setup of Debian. I'm going to do a super secret password here. Test machine is my typical thing. Password for the password is super secret. Central time zone, blah blah, things happen. And we're gonna do manual partitioning because I have pulled over here, and I don't do multiple monitors a lot, so I don't have this set up very well for multiple monitors. But like from scratch has this little text file that kind of explains a lot about like what's a typical like recommended setup. So we're not worrying about UEFI because that makes things more complicated. We're gonna stick with BIOS here. So we are first going to delete these partitions. Sweet. Okay, so it looks like we first need to create BIOS boot partition, which is this name. Don't know why we need a BIOS boot partition. That's not usually a thing. Well, we'll create a new partition, I guess. We'll follow this as close as we can, I guess. And the primary at the beginning. Is there guess ext2 might not show us boot. Hold on. I think generally the main point of this is it's easiest if you have a separate boot partition, even if this isn't a UEFI system. So let's actually just delete that and just start with the boot partition. And that's going to be 200 megabytes. Excuse me. All right. Beginning, and exe2 is just fine for that. I'd add /boot. Bootable is on, I guess. Done. Cool. And then swap next. And that's probably a good idea. And hold on, how much memory did I give this? Probably do like 4 gigabytes or 6 gigabytes. You can probably do like 4 gigabytes, just fine for a swap. Primary, beginning, gonna be our swap area. The rest is gonna be our normal partition. Sweet. All right, and now it's installing. So cool. So yeah, there's people in here. We can get a conversation going. If not, you can watch this amazing loading bar. I usually like listen to podcasts and stuff while I'm doing this, but we are going without that for this live stream setup. Keeping things pretty simple setup here. Didn't want to throw a whole bunch of things together. I haven't done YouTube in a long time. Oh yeah, and my laptop's probably going to get noisy as we go through this process as well. Just a warning, because we are live streaming, and at this point we're strong, but soon we're going to be building software and stuff. That's like compiling like a web browser or something like that, or the Linux kernel is something that we're going to be doing eventually. And that's a lot. I've got an HTOP window going over here. It's on my other screen here. And yeah, and I created a little like CPU TMP command. We're at 84 degrees here. I think, yeah, it says 100 degrees is like the highest it's willing to go without throttling, which wouldn't be nice. We don't want to throttle very much. If it has to, because I also don't want a dead CPU on this thing. All right, we're not going to do more media. US default repository is just fine. And yeah, by the way, this is Debian I'm installing for like the first thing for the first distribution here. I figured I would do that because it's stable, it's nice. There's a lot of distributions that are based off of Debian, but it's simple. I'm kind of going for like a really simple initial setup here. I don't want to do too much of that. I just want to get right into LFS. But unfortunately, with me using Debian, that means that there's going to be certain things that aren't installed out of the box, like Git and GCC and Perl are just a few things, and there's a lot of other things are just slightly different about it that might have to some amount of probably would have been nicer to go with Ubuntu. But Debian's really simple to install and everything, and a lot more hands-on as well, so I can get to be exactly what I need. I can probably close out this text right now. Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and read the LFS splits here. So, right. So this is explaining here. You're gonna need a host host operating system installed, and that's what I'm doing right here. Oh, no, this is just a. We don't need to participate. Okay. I'm gonna change this over to LXQT because again, simple. And lightweight. Don't want a lot of overhead when I'm primarily using this to be compiling software. And off it goes. Alright, so that's gonna take a second. I might actually just have this on my other screen just so I can check on it. But have it kind of visible, but still be able to focus on here. Like I said, I don't use like dual screen setup very much. I'm very much used to a one screen setup, so the fact that I have another monitor here connected is kind of learning how to use it in a certain way. Anyways, so there's no development option available. You can also do it from Live CD. I'm just installing like a main thing. I think this is gonna be fine. Run through all the different chapters, what they're gonna do. Chapter 8, I've heard, is like the longest. This is when you're actually building a lot of the stuff. Like all the other chapters above is mainly just like preparing the system, like creating an actual system that you can root into there, which is essentially like almost like creating like that's the, how do I explain root? It's like almost like you create a like Linux system, but that doesn't have any way to access it, like any way to boot from it and everything. That you only access through chroot here. So you basically, that's like the way that you start like configuring everything, like the initial stuff, like building the kernel and everything. You create that little environment, you root into it, and then you start pulling in kernel and like compiling it, and then eventually once you got everything, you install grub on there, the bootloader, and then you're good to go. But yeah, and then chapter 8 is the whole build thing. Don't need to worry about that. This is, I guess, all the things that we're gonna. So there's also 2 books I'm gonna be working on. This first one, Link from Scratch. This is all I'm gonna get. So Bash, that's essential. Core utils, that's also essential. Linux itself is of course essential. We're gonna get on the newer kernels. I don't know what the newest one is off the top of my head. Let's open up a new terminal here and uname R. This computer is running 6.12. I think this is hardware enablement. This is Pop! OS, by the way. So based off of Ubuntu, it's probably hardware enablement from it's 2204. I guess like this might even be just like one of the newest kernels, just as is. I think, because I think I have would have had like a pretty recent hardware enablement installed in it. Python, that's good for building stuff with systemd. That's highly essential. You can also get sys5 in it, I guess. We're gonna work with systemd because that's standard basically, and I don't care. All the resources I can do for getting support, that's all fine and dandy. Yeah. Um, I'm kind of trying to figure out what this is saying here. I'm sorry if I go quiet. That's probably going to happen somewhat often. Right? How do you enable that now? Right. This is probably just output from the log that it's talked about here. Okay, sure. Preparing for the build. Right, I do think this is 4 cores. We're only 20% into this Debian install. It seems like we're a little behind. It doesn't take that long to install Debian, especially with the minimal stuff I'm doing. Sure, I'm installing a desktop and everything, but I'm installing pretty lightweight desktop. I guess internet's just being slow or something. My stream out seems to be fine. I don't know. System processor. Yeah, I've got 4 cores in this thing, or 4 processors. I think 4 just cores. Enable PAE and X. There's a lot of things that require that, and VirtualBox's defaults for Linux are awful. Like, it still has like an IDE interface for like the CD-ROM by default. Nothing's going to use that. It still uses 16 megabytes of VRAM and doesn't even allow you within the interface. You can run a command to get up to 256 megabytes of VRAM, but I don't know. I wish Oracle would do a better job of updating those defaults. Why is this taking so long? That's crazy. Okay. That's not the way it is, but that's fine. These are all the we'll have core utils, we'll have bash. This is like Debian that was released like a year or two ago, I think, like a year and a half maybe. We also need C++. That's fine. Right. Yep, this isn't gonna be an issue. We'll also need like make is very important. Say we'll need Mason. So it's Mason, but not Mason doesn't seem like it. Oh, this is also pretty good. That's kind of okay. That's kind of neat, I guess. I guess that's small for you guys. And yes, an LFS build can take like, even for the base system, can take like 30 hours to do. So very much like staged thing, and if I do more live streams of this, it's gonna be over like the next week. I might even not get this fully done in the next week. LFS takes a long time, and we're only on 21% for our Debian install. Stuff ticket saying 30 minutes, so that might be interesting. Right. For the root user, right. Right. Oh, my phone's gonna be vibrating apparently. Okay. Yeah. If there's new people popping in, let me know we're here. We can have a bit of a conversation and all that. But I'm sorry if I'm quiet a lot. This is gonna be a lot of reading. LFS is a book, not a like this is the way you learn essentially. Because you're essentially doing all this yourself. Only with the guidance here. It'd be that's the only way to really do stuff like this at least. Right. I understand that. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. Dude, this Debian install, man. Been checking on it, and it's making no progress at all. It seems like saying 40 minutes. Even bandwidth, maybe? I don't know. This is like the most upload speed I've probably ever had to use. So but we're chilling, I guess. I don't know. I don't need to resize it. Okay. Right. No system requires partition around 10 gigabytes, right? I think I've got a 40 gigabyte hard drive in this, and like partitions are only gonna take up like 5 gigabytes tops. And then we got the system itself with about 8 gigabytes. So yeah, we've got over 20 gigabytes available for this thing. Right. Yeah, right. That's when we set up that 4 gigabyte swap there. Right. That is why you don't like ignore a swap partition when you're setting up, or like any swap space when setting up Linux. You always want to have even like just like a gigabyte, you know, hard drives are always big enough where you can easily sacrifice like a gigabyte, because even if you have enough, even if you're like, I have 128 gigabytes of RAM, it's never going to be it's never going to be swapping. Your kernel is still going to expect that there's swap space there, and still gonna try to store things in swap, and it's just part of its normal operation. So if you're ever installing Linux, even if you have a whole bunch of like RAM for yourself, still make sure that you are providing some amount of swap space. If you're new to Linux and you are just using a guided install of like Ubuntu or whatever, you don't need to worry about that too much. The guided install, I think on Ubuntu, it just makes a swap file for you. It's just, I think, the better way of doing things, although it makes configuring the system a bit more complicated. But anyways, right. We're gonna install gparted because gparted is awesome. Linux native partition and swap partition. Yep, we can just have it use the. We'll see. I'm not actually sure about that. Definition of a new partition, right? That's the LFS partition, right? We're just going to stick with simple partitioning practices here. We're not going to worry about RAID or LVM or anything like that. Right. Yes, FS tab, very important. And by the way, for Windows native people, swap in Linux and Unix systems is essentially the page file. But in these cases, like what I'm doing over here, which is only at 23%, which is awesome. Swap, it's like a page file, but if it was a partition rather than a file. Whereas there's like Ubuntu does this by default. It'll set up a swap file, so it's basically exactly like a page file. But effectively, that will when you run out of RAM and your computer needs more memory, it'll start putting data on your storage device instead of like your hard drive or your SSD or whatever, instead of your RAM, because your RAM's full. That's how Linux, we just refer to it as swap. Swap is essential, and that's kind of why I was talking about. That would be like on like for you Windows people, that would be like making like disabling the page file altogether, because I have enough memory, I have enough RAM installed. Well, the Linux kernel expects that there is swap in existence, and so it stores stuff there even if it doesn't need to, and that's kind of what I was talking about before. But, yeah. And as for fstab, that is essentially a file that tells the computer when it boots up where all the different drives are and how exactly you want to mount it. Because you can have like Linux is like very modular and very like infinitely configurable. You can have like an entire Linux system that stretches over like 5 drives if you want to. And the way that works is this fstab file. That basically tells the bootloader and the kernel how to mount things, to make the system work together. So like, hey, you know, the boot information that's on this drive, you can mount it to the file system in this way. And like the user data that sits on this other drive, you can mount that in this way. So that fstab file is very important, and that's why these why we need to understand these like names and stuff. If there's new people coming in, by the way, and you want to start a conversation, pop into that chat and let me know. It would be cool. If not, you can enjoy my rambling about Linux, because Linux is cool. And Linux from scratch is a perfect way to learn a lot about Linux. That's effectively what I'm doing here. But yeah. Question advice on system partitioning, right? Highly subjective, sure. Right, because you can, like I said, you can partition a Linux system like in an infinite amount of ways. Right, so root partition, 20 gigabytes is good compromise for most systems. Yeah, we'll probably make that work pretty well, especially because our host installed Debian is a very slim system, and so we're not going to have to sacrifice too much to make that work. I think a Debian, like a minimal Debian install, can fit in like 8 gigabytes. Font partition, right? I'm not going to worry about hibernation too much. I think it's never good. Again, FOP is just a page file for you Linux or for you Windows people. Yeah. Grub. On Arch systems, I've never needed to do this. Yeah, also, yeah, again, I'm going to be quiet a lot, so bear with me with that. Convenience partitions. I'm not going to worry about that. File system on the partition, right? So let's create a new partition. ext4 is like the go-to for Linux systems. It's like the most versatile. It has journaling and it's stable. It does all you that you really need to do for the most part. So we're just gonna use ext4 on the LFS partition, all that. Right, we're not gonna worry about any of that. Again, ext4 is what we're gonna go with. That's like the de facto file system on Linux systems. We're at 25% on that Debian install. That's excellent. Might be here a little bit, I guess, waiting on that. And yeah, so we're gonna be doing all this in gparted once we end up getting Debian installed here. Yeah, this is getting into like where you actually like need to have this installed. Debian systems usually don't take this long to install. I think this might be bandwidth with my network adapter or something like that, because holy crap, Debian doesn't usually take this long to install. So yeah, don't really know how to make this entertaining. We're basically waiting for Debian to install and it's taking forever. If there's people coming in, you can head into the chat and everything, but this is almost going to be like a Q&A as well, because this is the only way that I really fully know how to be somewhat mildly entertaining in these times when we're waiting on Debian to install. and there's going to be times later when we're waiting on, when we are, like waiting on like stuff to compile as well, because compiling, especially when you've got big complicated programs, they take a while as well. So yeah, if there's people trickling in, I've got a window open with the chat and we can talk. Otherwise, I guess we can stare at this loading bar for forever. It's been on like, I think like 15 minutes ago, it was only at 20%. It's only moved 5% since then. It's trying to download, like it's not really the fault of the installer itself. It's that apparently my download speeds aren't that amazing right now. It's trying to install like desktop environments and stuff, and this is the network installer and everything. So it needs to download like basically any non-essential stuff. So technically I already have a Debian system installed, but if I go into there, it's just going to be bash. And I want, as much as I'm wanting a simple base system, we can do more than just bash, I think. So yeah. Sorry, I don't really know how to make this entertaining. Just okay, waiting for this to install. So we're gonna eventually be formatting, and then we're gonna be doing environment variables and stuff. And we're gonna be mounting it. And on. This is all this swap stuff is going to be set up by Debian here. In fact, it's already set up by Debian. So, and then chapter use the packages that need to be downloaded in order to build a basic Linux system. Right. So, core utils, kernel, all that. Right. Right, that makes sense. Right. Okay, sure. Right, wget. We're also gonna install git and stuff. So if there's if it's hosted on git, we can do a git clone and all that. That's because we are will be setting up that. Right, so that's just a cool, like, quick little shorthand. All good. 26%, so it's getting down to like 3 minutes, so that's promising. Yeah, so just waiting on Debian, I guess. Sorry, really don't know how to make this entertaining. I'm sorry. That's neat. Okay. I'm sorry, it's also like really quiet for you guys, I'm realizing, because I didn't set up any background music or anything. I need to download more bandwidth. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. um, I just kind of threw this together really quickly, and was like, I was just like, this would be a cool idea. Why don't I do this live and everything? And then uh, like, again, I haven't done YouTube in a while. There's a lot of stuff going on outside, I guess. um, our neighbors are cool. Okay. Well, I mean, the time remaining is looking much better than it did like 15 minutes ago when it was talking like 40 minutes remaining and everything. Um, so, oh, 42 seconds. That's cool. Well, theoretically, it's approaching the end of this download here. It only needs like 50 more files, something like that. Laptop isn't used to sending 10 kilobit, 10,000 or 10,000 kilobits per second to YouTube at the same time as downloading stuff. It's used to writing papers. Yeah, because I don't think I've used this for like YouTube at all. Like I bought this laptop at the end of my senior year of high school for use in college, and that's at the time that I was kind of slightly getting burnt out of YouTube and also just not having as much time to work on YouTube and all of that. And then yeah, now I'm now I'm a college kid, and that's oh yo, we're unpacking stuff. This should hopefully go faster because this is just hard, just calculations and storage movement. It's not downloading downloading stuff. Theoretically, it's download everything you need. So hopefully this will be fairly smooth sailing from here. I wasn't anticipating that downloading or that installing Debian was gonna be the first hour of the live stream. Yeah, install that Python, yes. We're waiting on this now. There's not really much more into the book that I can go until I get partitions like all set up, and in order to do that I need to have this this is its demo fully installed. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, the laptop is working hard here. I wish I could go into like an HTOP window inside this virtual machine, kind of see how things are going in here, like how the virtual CPU is doing. This is my host system here. So like 16 thread. I think this is 8 cores and 16 threads here. All of those threads are busy, and my memory is probably the highest it's been in a long time. Yeah, look at that. That progress bar is going way faster than it was just a couple minutes ago. Let's go. Oh, it's installing LibreOffice. We didn't need to do that. You don't need to waste time installing LibreOffice. I should have maybe looked further into looked closer into like the optional software stuff. That's what I was gonna install, and because we don't really need like a web browser either, but it's gonna be installing. It's probably gonna be installing Firefox here in a second if it isn't already. There it goes. And there it goes. Finishing up here. Seems like it, at least. For people that use Linux and kind of have installed stuff in the terminal, you kind of know the standard way that apt goes, like the downloads and then unpacks, and then it kind of configures and sets things up. It's kind of the standard steps that it takes. It seems like it's in that final step here. Oh, installed YouTube DL. Yeah, so you're going to be doing all the YouTube video downloads on this virtual machine, yeah. Yes, and the X screensaver, that's also very essential. We like it. Vermögen. I'm studying German, by the way. I know a little bit of German. So basically right now I'm in a room by myself talking to myself, and so I might slip into those strange habits of randomly slipping into a different language, because that's kind of the way, well, first of all, I'm a person that talks to themselves like out loud. Like, not that I can shut that off and like, oh, yo, we're finally installing Grub. Let's go. Yes, install that Grub for me. Thank you. Like, not that I can't, like, keep it all inside and everything. It's just when I'm by myself, I like to talk to myself out loud. So that's effectively what I'm doing here. I've just put a microphone in the room, and now it's being broadcasted to 4 different people on YouTube, I guess, at this point. Finishing the installation. Let's go. It only took 53 minutes. This hardware detect command is taking a while, apparently. Guess it's installing drivers now. But yeah, part of the way that I practice learning languages is by incorporating it into my vocabulary as I talk to myself. So like, I'll say, "Where's my phone? Wo ist mein Handy?" Stuff like that. That's just kind of the way I go. It's installed. Right. That makes sense. Disabling, you know, install CD as a source for software install, because we're not going to have that CD inserted into this. Yo, let's go. Continue. And it's going to reboot into our new installation of Debian. And it's going to be great. We made it past the first hurdle. Didn't think that would take an hour. Okay. Come on, System D, you've got this. Let's boot. Alright, here it comes. Yeah, and if you guys come in here, want to, I think no, I got that right. Here it comes. If you want to chat about things, this is almost kind of like an ask me anything. I won't, there's no promises of answering everything, but I intend to answer as much as I can. This thing is going to be popping up for a little bit, which is annoying. All right, here we are. First things first. Sudo. Oh shoot! First things first, we need to put ourselves in sudo is final. So because the user that you're configured with in Debian isn't automatically the root. It isn't automatically an administrator. Sets up a separate root account. So we need to go and make ourselves an administrator here. Come on. I'm typing in my normal password instead of my virtual machine password. That happens every now and then. So first things first, that all we need to do to make this happen is user mod test -a -g sudo. Cool. And then well, first of all, we need to log out, log back in. This account, and we will be an administrator. Here we go. And my super cool way that I test to see if it works is I do sudo echo it works, and it works. See, it works. Yeah, and for you people, because I kind of mentioned at the beginning, for those of you people that are Windows native people and don't really use Linux, if you have any questions on what I'm doing, let me know. This is going to be doing a lot of technical stuff that I'm not really going to have time to explain everything. I kind of talked about how when I started my channel, I started right as I was getting into Linux, but through my first few videos, I became kind of a Windows guy channel, whereas now I don't run Windows on everything, and I barely touch Windows at all nowadays. Kind of migrated to being a Linux guy, but so, if any of you have any questions with that, definitely let me know in the chat. I would be very happy to answer any of those. It's not to say that I'm a, typical online Linux person that's like, everyone must use Linux. No, I'm not one to use what you want to use, dude. But yeah. All right, so let's sudo apt update. Make sure that all of our packages are fully up to date. See, one can be upgraded. Let's do that. Sudo apt upgrade, or let's do full, come on, upgrade YY. Intel microcode needs to be updated apparently. And once that is all good, you will go ahead and install gparted so that we can do some partitioning, because that is the next step, is partition and format and all that. Can this share the swap partition that the host uses? I'm guessing that we probably can just use the host swap space. Sweet. So let's sudo apt install gparted, and also install some other unique things. So Perl gcc gpp make as well. All right, so we're installing more software, and as we saw earlier, that can be an interesting thing. Might take a bit longer than we would like. And we could, I'm not even sure if Debian comes pre-installed with like CFDisk or anything like, but I prefer just do things through gparted anyways. I like gparted. I haven't. This is gparted, by the way. It's on my host. This is gparted. It's a partitioning tool, and it's cool. So like we can, like, if we want to shrink this to this is probably not going to want to do it because this partition is mounted, but we can like shrink this and add a new partition, and then once we're done with that, we hit the checkbox and it goes and does all of it for you. So like you kind of plan out how you want the partition set up to be, and then you tell it to do it, and it does it for you. I think it's definitely one of the best graphical partitioning tools that exists, but I don't know. We're 96% there of getting everything. Right now it's just downloading things. All this get and everything, that's just downloading things. And then now this is like basically like unzipping all the stuff that I just downloaded, and then it's gonna set up, and it was kind of what I talked about beforehand, with the whole way that apt, the whole process that apt kind of does things, and when you start doing things internally, kind of learn those little things. But gpart is installed, so gparted, and our awesome password there. Cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, why can't we, okay, what if we swap off? We can resize that just fine. Why can't we resize that? Okay, let's swap on. Okay, let's try to do it through like fdisk. Sudo cfdisk. What if we hold on, let's install, or let's insert our Debian ISO again and then reboot into it, and then try partitioning in there. Advanced options, and we'll do rescue mode. US, American English. What we are basically doing here is we need to shrink our partition, our like main partition, so that we have enough room to create a Linux from scratch partition that we can start working with, and that'll be kind of be the main system disk that our and central. That'll be like the main drive that we end up installing stuff to when we get all set up. Do not use the root file system. I thought this was going to be more helpful. Maybe we have to do different. Let me see if I can. Let's just go ahead and shut down that virtual machine. I definitely have another live image that I can boot into that's going to be more helpful. I thought Debian had like a partitioner in its thing, but I guess not. Right, yeah. See, this is what I was talking about earlier. By default, VirtualBox puts for every Linux virtual machine, it has by default the CD drive under an IDE controller. Why? Why isn't it under the SATA controller? It's so strange. Weird defaults. Try or install Ubuntu, and then we'll just repartition in here. As soon as it boots, there it is. It's getting there. I'll try Ubuntu. I'm actually gonna install this. Ooh. Gparted is generally installed in these. Okay, this is the KDE version, so I'm not as familiar with this, but it'll probably be fine. Why isn't okay? Let's try to. What if we? $8,000 bytes. Yeah. Honestly, this is probably all we need to do. We can create that new partition when we're back, because the main issue that we were having was that it wasn't letting us shrink the active root partition. It wasn't liking that. That was the main issue, I believe. So now I just have to wait for that to now repartition and everything. And then we can boot back into Debian and continue from there. And then it's swap, blah, blah, blah. And then we will be continuing from here. This will kind of be the first steps of setting up our environment and everything. Details, what is it doing? Yeah, this is like all these, a lot of these terminal tools that's executing in the background, because that's effectively what GUIs do on Linux, is they are like a front end for terminal applications, because terminal applications rule. But these terminal applications, which is basically what you're seeing in here, you're seeing the output of the terminal command. A lot of these file system terminal applications don't give a whole lot of useful output. Oh, looks like it's done though. Awesome. We can reboot into Debian. Yes. it's automatically ejected. Very cool. All right. Booting back up. Good old System D doing its thing. I'm wondering how much do you guys hear my laptop fan spinning? I mean, they just died down and everything, but because I can see, because I've got OBS open on my other screen here, and it's monitoring volume and everything, and when you can see a very little hum. There's definitely some, and I have a noise suppression filter on this thing, but like that. How well do you guys hear that? I'm very curious. It's not loud or anything, I don't think. Doesn't seem like it, at least. Right, Gparted. Right, so now we have all this unallocated space. We can create a new partition. ext4 is just fine. LFS. Yep. And there it goes. Sweet. All right, cool. So we are all partitioned. Nice and happy. Oh, we need to get that. So on a lot of systems like Ubuntu, you can hit Control-Alt-T and open up a terminal for you. I rely on that being there, and it throws me off whenever it's not there. So I'm just going to real quick here set up that keyboard shortcut to open up the terminal. So it's Control-T, open terminal, and XF terminal, I think. Maybe not. No, I want not about Qt. Q terminal, not XF terminal. Q terminal. Right. Yes, there we go. It works. Terminal and Control-T. Let's go. So also sudo apt install htop so that I can take a look at what's happening in the guest system. Because like I said, I have where's my mouse? I have htop running on my host system over here, but it's nice to see what of that is streaming and what of that is building software, that type of thing. So we are just going to open up another terminal. It's just going to kind of be running htop over here in the corner. There it goes. Nice. All right. So our file systems are all set up. Everything else be okay. You can kind of see them all here. And so, yeah, let's see. Right. Yeah, so yeah. So we want, it looks like, it doesn't, I don't think it matters the order of these two steps, because this is just creating a shortcut almost. This LFS shortcut here, you can just mount it already the way it is here, and then use create the shortcut. But Doesn't really matter, don't think. But we'll just kind of do what it's doing. So it's export LFS equals MNT LFS. Nope. I don't work with kernel variables a lot. Yeah, it's not capitalized. There it is. So if we echo LFS, you get exactly that right there. And so now we can, oh, hold on. I had one more thing in here. Okay. UMask. Let's not have this full screen so I can kind of see the intersection. So, 022. Cool. And we can UMask and get 022. Right, sure. Okay, cool. So now we're mounting that new partition that we made, and that's easy. So first of all, mkdir pv, we'll use that LFS shortcut that we created before. Oh shoot, sudo. Cool. And then we'll sudo mount vt-ext4. I don't usually add these options, but and then we kind of saw up above that this is SDA4 here. So we can just, no, don't want that. Dev SDA4, $. There you go. So see, so v ls mnt and slash ls, we'll see, well, that's the whole kernel thing. Austin found that's a kernel specific thing. The kernel likes to create that directory for us. But yeah. So we've got everything mounted. Oh yes, chown and everything. In fact, what we can probably do is sudo bash to be in root here. And let's also just our bash rc file here. Usually color is a thing. Cool. Right. Enter dot bash rc. There you go with that. Well, cd bash. Get nice colors now. It's just handy. Don't have the colors in the prompt here, and I don't think I'll have other things for color, but that's fine, I guess. cdmnt, LFS. All right. chown root LFS. This is just making our ownerships are fine. Missing operand after shoot. Okay, export LFS equals t LFS. Because when we created that shortcut terminal variable earlier, we only created it in the scope of the normal user. When we went into our root user, that no longer existed, so we needed to recreate it. Let's see what options for that from it. No SCI. Okay, didn't realize that was a thing, apparently. Apparently you can just run mounts with nothing. And let's type that to last so that we can scroll through it here in the terminal. Or I guess just see it all on screen. For RW. Okay, sweet. So we are all good. By the way, if more people are trickling in, if you want to say anything, it's almost like an AMA slash, you know, whatever. Because I have been around for a while. If you want to chat, I'm up for that. But, yeah. I just kind of go with the flow here. And swap, blah, blah. Sweet. So now we can start getting packages all good. Right, this Docker list of packages that need to be downloaded. There's package versions. They also have prompts. All right, we already kind of read that earlier while we were waiting for Debian to install. So download packages and patches also need to be stored somewhere. So you're right, and we need to be logged in as root. That's all good for us. So header the LFS sources, and then we're gonna make sure that that has proper permission sources. Writable and sticky. I have never heard that terminology before, actually. Multiple users have right permission to the directory. Only the owner of the file can delete the file. Sure, that makes sense. Okay. So chmod va plus wt. So that's basically everyone can write there, but only root can delete, I guess. Sure. Files can be downloaded individually for stable versions, but could tarball of all the files. Okay, that's kind of neat. Hold on. Let's hold on. Let me go to what's talking about here. None of these are amazing. Okay. None of these are that close to me. I guess it's in Oregon, Ashburn, Virginia. I guess let's go with that. What is this? wget list sysv. So I don't have that on the system. That's not going to work. And what version of the system? 12.3. I guess all of this. Sure. So D5 sum. I guess we can. I'm not convinced that this would work. No, there's no way that would work. I guess we can just kind of do all these one by one. That seems kind of inappropriate. First of all, let's and it's awesome. I'm glad that I didn't realize I needed to turn that off. That's awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and install guest editions on this so that we can enable shared clipboard. CD. Now, when I did this last night, this was giving me a lot of trouble, and I had to copy this to like a temp directory. Because usually you can just come in here, open this in a terminal, and sudo /vbox linux editions run, and but permission denied for some reason. So, and I couldn't figure out how to work around this. So I had to copy vbox and then editions 2/temp, and then sudo /vbox linux editions run, and then now it'll install. Just really strange. But yeah, it's gonna be handy to be able to like to have a shared clipboard and copy and paste directly into the virtual machine. So that's what we were doing. Now we're just gonna wait for guest editions to install, I guess. Alright, sweet. So sudo reboot. And we can take that out of the drive as well. I mean, at this point, there's nothing running, so we're good. While we're doing that, actually, let's go ahead and come into here and configure that shared clipboard to work. Shoot, it's been a while since I've done this. Okay, here it is. Bidirectional. Awesome. Because otherwise I'd have to copy, I'd have to like type in all these URLs one by one and everything, and that's no fun. It'd be... How does an input file work? I can, because if I can use like an input file, that'd be pretty amazing. Yeah, you can see what I was talking about at the beginning when it's going to take a while to do this full install of like from scratch. We are an hour and a half into this. And it had a blip there for some reason. That's cool. Right. So let's just like copy and paste. Sure, nothing. Yes. Okay. It is working just fine. So I guess copy link and like just paste them all in here. There's gotta be a better way to do this. Okay, I'm gonna put this on another monitor. I know you guys won't be able to see it, but it is gonna be much better workflow. Seems like there's a much better way to do this though. Like we could do like wildcard or something. It's autoconf, automake. Now we've got bash. Bin utils. Bison, no, that's unnecessary. I think Bison is a build tool. Nope. I have our focus on the right thing. That's bzip to without this all looks good. We are wir sind gut. 15. Check. Core utils. And all the stuff at the end. This is the regular. Debug. Deja GNU. That's a fun thing. There's so much stuff in here. Yeah, diff utils. E2FS. Elf utils. Haven't done that before. Looked like that before. Expat. Extra. Or expect. Or expat, then expect. And we've got extra file, find utils, all very important. Flex, split core. Gawk. GCC, very important. GDBM. Get text. glibc, very important. Where are we at? GMP, gperf, grep. That's also important. Graph, not sure what that is, but cool. Grub, that's very important. gzip. No, that's unnecessary. Lana, etc. iNet utils. Intel, huh? Not sure what that thing is. IP route, network stuff. Jinja, I think that's a build tool thingy. GBD. Less, that's handy. Boot scripts, that's probably very important. Libcap. libffi. Fun. Pipeline. libtool. Scroll down. libxcrypt. So it's probably for encryption stuff, I would guess. Linux, that's probably the most important thing in here. Then we've got make, very important. ManDB, that's handy, as well as pages, yes. Alright, that's good for verification. Mason, that's important, that's a build tool. In cursive, that's part of boot stuff. I think Ninja, that's another build tool. It's common. Well, I'm not exactly sure what that means for a system, but probably important. Perl is a build tool. And some sort of language, I think. PSMIFE. Python. That's very important. Almost everything has some amount of Python to it. Nope. That's not what we want to do. Set up tools. Shadow. For logging service, I guess. Systemd, that's highly important as well. Only slightly less important than Linux. And we're not going to get System 5 in it. When we get Systemd, there's no need for getting System 5 in it. It's like the alternative to Systemd. Oh, we're at the bottom of the page. That's cool. Detail stuff, text info. UDEF. Util Linux. And Vim. I guess if we're not getting Nano, then Vim is important to have. I much more prefer Nano. I haven't properly learned how to use Vim yet. I'm not a Vim Chad or anything. Get list. What is wget list? And temp. Plume, I guess. Oh, this is probably... That's funny. That's awesome. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Right. Sudo bash. And export lfs equals tlfs, and then what was that mount command again that we did? Easier to copy and paste. And it's SDA4. Oh, is it now? Oh, neat. Oh, okay. In that case, I guess can we'll come back here, copy, wget. All right, locate our sources. Sweet. And hold on, I accidentally opened up a window on the other screen. All right. So it is, because I've never used wget input file before. So wget input file equals list continue directory prefix equals of forces. There it goes. Now it's downloading everything. There was an easier way to do it. I just didn't see that. Awesome. Okay. I want to get HTOP back open and chilling down here. Right. So now we're downloading stuff again. Yeah, I guess this is the next thing I'm waiting on. Security advisory for downloading packages to figure out if newer version of any package should. Right. I'm not gonna take this too seriously, really. I thought I saw GIMP in there. I'm like, are we doing GIMP? We don't need GIMP. Okay, so just a listing of all the different things that's needs to be installed. Cool. Creating a limited directory layout in the LFS file system. Perform a few additional tasks to prepare for building the temporary system. Create a set of directories in LFS to install temporary tools, right? Add an unprivileged user, sure. Create an appropriate build environment for that user, right? All right. Populating. How is this download doing? It's downloading Bash now, I guess. We'll begin populating the LFS file system with the pieces that will continue, or will constitute rather, the final Linux system. Right. The first step is to create a limited directory hierarchy so that programs compiled in Chapter 6, so glibc and libstd, c++, and Chapter 5 can be installed to their final location. You will do this so that the temporary programs will be overwritten right when the final versions are built in Chapter 8. Wow, we're like doing like a bash script there, almost kind of. Just need to wait for bash to download. Alright, so this is where we're just waiting on things now. So yeah, if anyone has anything to say, anything to ask, whatever, be sure I am looking at chat. So, ooh, that's a bunch of text. There he goes. Just grabbing those bin utils now. Probably go for another like 30 minutes or so. I'm gonna have to end this before 4 o'clock because we've got plans for 4 o'clock. But now the cool thing about me doing this in a virtual machine is like I can like stop it in the middle of it building or downloading something because VirtualBox just saves the state for me. And then I can pick it up where it left off later. It's the nice thing about working with like installations and builds and stuff with a virtual machine. Very nice. Got slow download right now. Pick it up because this does actually, unlike the Debian installer from earlier, this does actually show our speed. We're at kilobytes per second. That's not great. Yes, the internet is kind of being hit or miss today, although it's enough to have a high definition live stream going, which doesn't have to handle that much, or, well, that often and everything, so. $5 minutes. That's awesome. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. I feel bad for live streaming this and then it's like just sitting in silence waiting for something to download. I don't know what else to do, man. I don't know how to be entertaining right now. Somewhere I have a trombone mouthpiece. I can buzz. Not sure if that box is in this room. Yeah, I play the trombone, by the way. It's kind of neat. Yeah, that's kind of like my other, like, computers has been my hobby for a long time, and obviously I made a YouTube channel about it and posted there, like, for many years, or, well, not many years, for only a couple, really. Um, but music has always been another passion of mine, and I'm a music minor on top of being like I'm a computer science major and then music and German minor. Can you tell that I go to liberal arts school? um, it's an interesting mix there. I've got a bit of everything in there. But yeah, I really like learning about music, and that's been something that I've been into my entire life. Was only as of like middle school that I started getting into computers and everything. But really, for as long as I can remember, I've been into music. So, a little interesting tidbit about me that you probably didn't know about beforehand. At one point, I don't know if that video is still available to the public. At one point, I created like a computer sings a church hymn, and this is the day that the Lord has made. I played with like Audacity, like pitch changing on like Windows XP error sounds to make it do that. I don't know if that's still up there. But then at one point I also tried to make like a song with only like Windows XP error sounds and stuff. I was a nerd. I still am a nerd. But yeah, so I guess those are ways that you might be able to see that part of me. But other than that, yeah. um, might not have known that much about me. Yeah, play the trombone and the piano. So yeah, I don't think that box is in here. I think that's in the other room. I'm slowly unpacking from college and all that. Just home for the summer. Okay, finally, it's done with downloading bin utils, I guess. It would be great if we had better download speeds right now. Let's check out what is in that. Hold on. It's MNT LFS. Where did that file go? Well, I guess at least I'll have it, what, in here on the host here. Is it just doing it line by line? It's on core utils right now. Yeah, it's just line by line, so at least from what I can tell. So because it's working on bzip earlier, I think. So theoretically, we're getting to the close to the end of it. I'll probably download these things and then end the stream, probably. Debus. No, maybe it's not. Should have been like expect next. Let's doing Deja GNU. I don't know. Oh no, this is way the PC. So we actually have a long way to go. Oh boy, I might have to stop the stream and let this thing kind of finish later. We'll let it go for a little bit. Diff utils. Our download speed is picking up at least. No, I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, we're still at kilobytes per second down here. Usually I can get like 1 to 2 megabytes per second, but man, this is rough. How's this HTOP doing? Yeah, this is all just streaming stuff, I guess, that my top fan is worrying about. What is it? Elf utils, like elf utils thing. Okay, we're down to there now. Yeah, nothing too interesting is happening. And nothing interesting is really gonna happen for like the rest of the stream, really. Might just end the stream here in a second. I don't know what else to do, man. I might go back live tomorrow. What is happening tomorrow? I don't know that I have that much going on tomorrow. Yeah, I might go back live tomorrow. We'll see. Keep your eyes open or whatever. Again, this is all very low commitment for me. So even if I say might go live tomorrow, there's no guarantees that that's actually going to happen. I might lose interest in this altogether and just stop. But I think it'd be cool. But yeah. What are we working on? I'm still working on Elf Utils. Gonna be expat next. Man, I thought we were way further down. We were for a second there. Whoa, it's almost done. No, it's way up there. That's great. And once we get to like Linux and stuff, it's gonna be cool. Yeah, I was doing expat or expect. Got expat done really quickly. Right. Probably gonna end the stream here. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in. Thanks for the likes, all that. The YouTuber's usual speech is like and subscribe and all that, but I'm not gonna ask you to do that because, like, in all honesty, like I said, like in my last video, my kind of half goodbye, kind of that, like, it'd be like I wouldn't like to stop doing videos, but at the same time right now I'm kind of lacking a lot of motivation to do videos. I'm lacking ideas, I'm lacking time. Even once we get later into the summer, like, my summer life is just a delayed pickup, but it's gonna pick up. So yeah, so not sure what that means. Oh, thanks, Black Otaku. Good to see you. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, so might go live later. We'll see. But yeah, I think I might be ending the stream here. We're on Gawk right now. Oh, yo, we've almost made it to the bottom of this first page. That's awesome. Yeah, we still have a whole lot to go. This is just downloading things. I bet you once I stop streaming, the internet's probably, well, like, the download speed is going to pick up quite a bit. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, for everything and all that. But yeah, I think that's gonna be about it for today. So yeah, keep your eyes open, all that. Well, let me. And yeah, but have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow, maybe. We'll see.